So I thought it would be fun to talk with you guys about my thoughts and theories and all that stuff on WandaVision because honestly, it is a whirlwind. Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. So I had this super cute setup in like my gray egg chair. It was so aesthetically pleasing, and I found out that Dominic broke my egg chair and you just can't sit in it anymore. It just collapses. So on the floor in front of the dresser it is. So today I'm going to be starting a series that is a little different than what I normally do, but I'm really excited to do it and I hope that you guys enjoy it. So in December of 2019, Disney Plus had just come out like a month before that, and I was on winter break, which is a whole month of basically me just watching TV. So I sat down, and every single day of that break, I watched another Marvel movie. I had never seen a Marvel movie before, so I was really just diving in, and I wanted to watch the whole timeline. This is a big commitment. So I started watching Marvel at the end of 2019, and since then, nothing has come out from them. Yes, a lot of that is due to the pandemic, but like 2019 was like 2 years ago at this point. It's 2021. So I have really been craving some new Marvel content. A few weeks ago, WandaVision came out on Disney Plus, and of course I watched it because I needed some Marvel content. So I thought it would be fun to talk with you guys about my thoughts and theories and all that stuff on WandaVision because honestly, it is a whirlwind. So to start off, you don't need to watch other Marvel movies to watch WandaVision, it just helps. And like I said before, it's a big time commitment. So what I'm gonna do is for each episode, I'm gonna tell you what movie from the MCU would be helpful to watch so that you understand what's happening. So the first movie I'll tell you to watch if you want to better understand WandaVision is Avengers Age of Ultron. So in this movie, Wanda is introduced and Vision is introduced. So the two main characters of the show are introduced. So if you want to know like their background and their origin and all of that, I would definitely watch that movie. If you haven't seen that movie, I'll just briefly explain like who they are, where they came from. So first is Wanda. So Wanda is from a European country called Sokovia, and she and her twin brother Pedro were experimented on. So they have these, you could say, superpowers. So she is very much good at like neuro things, so mind control, moving things with her mind, things like that. Her brother had like super speed, but that's not super important here. In that same movie, the villain is an artificial intelligence named Ultron, and Vision was created to destroy Ultron. So Vision is also artificial intelligence. He was put into like a body made of flesh to make him seem human, and he has the Mind Stone in him. So Wanda originally starts out as the villain as she is working with Ultron, but eventually she switches and is now part of the Avengers. In some of the later movies, you see that Wanda and Vision get together as a couple, but you don't need to watch a whole movie to know that. Okay, now that you have some background knowledge, let's dive into the first episode. So when I first turned on this episode, I had no idea what to expect. All I knew is this is a TV series that's in the MCU and it had Wanda and Vision. So when I turned it on and it was in black and white, and you know how like old TV shows are like the square screen, so if you show it on a big TV, the ends are just black. That's what it was. So I was so confused, like I didn't know what to expect, but I definitely did not expect this. For a while, I was even wondering if I was watching the right show. So it starts out with like the normal Marvel opening with all the movies and stuff. So I was like, okay, like this is pretty normal. And then you keep going, and after that original opening, there's like a black and white, like sitcom opening with Wanda and Vision, and I don't know, it was just so odd. So it just starts out like any other sitcom from this time period, and with a basic story of them forgetting an important date on the calendar and neither of them know what it is, and they don't want to admit that they don't know what it is, so neither of them ever know. So Vision eventually finds out that they are having his boss and his boss's wife over for dinner. So they come over, and Wanda has no idea. She thinks it's like an anniversary or something. So she comes down and tries to surprise Vision in like a sexy nightgown thing. And she like greets him from behind, even though it's not him, it's actually his boss. So they say that this greeting is European because she's from Europe, she's from Sokovia. So there's that reference there. So, to my surprise, Mr. Hart, who is Vision's boss, is married to Mrs. Hart, who is Kitty from that 70s show. So that was super cool to see her in this. Anyway, Wanda is trying to make dinner, but she doesn't know how, so she's using all of her powers and stuff to move stuff around the kitchen. So that shows her like superpowers coming to life in the sitcom. Now, things start to get a little weird during the dinner because Mr. and Mrs. Hart are asking Vision and Wanda, when did you get married? Why did you move here? Just simple questions about their past, and they don't know how to answer them. So at this point, I know that something is up, something's not right, but other than that, it seems like a pretty basic sitcom. And to be honest, I wasn't super impressed with the first episode. I found it a little boring, but then you get to like the end credits scene, and it like pulls back to someone watching the sitcom like from the outside. So that's another clue where I was like, something's weird here, let's keep watching. So like I said, nothing super special about the first episode. I was kind of bored, but the second episode is where things really started to heat up. So the second episode is now in the 60s. So I soon found out that each episode was a different time period. So the first episode was the 50s, and then the second episode was the 60s. So it starts out with a new sitcom opening. So each episode has a different opening. And I also found out that the characters in every episode are the same. So each day is like a different decade. It's not like they're going ahead 10 years into the story, it's just like one day passed. But all of the characters are the same. They don't recognize that like a whole 10 years has passed. And you really start to see like nods to sitcoms during this time period. So it seems like a normal sitcom, just like the last episode, until we get to a point where Wanda goes outside and finds a helicopter in her bush, like a little drone helicopter, like a toy. And it's in color, it's red. And the whole series so far has been in black and white because in the 50s and 60s there was black and white TV, but the helicopter is red. So that's when I'm like, oh, things are going differently. And originally, when she started seeing color, I just thought it was a transition to, oh, the next episode is going to be in the 70s. They had color TV. Maybe she's starting to transition to color. So Wanda tries to fit in with like the other women in the town of Westview where they live. And I didn't know this at the time, but she meets someone called Geraldine. And she may not seem important in this episode, but she's very important going forward. So remember Geraldine. So she meets Geraldine and Dottie. And she's sitting there talking to Dottie, and all of a sudden the radio next to them starts talking to her. It's like this guy's voice, and it's saying, Wanda, Wanda, can you hear me? And she can hear it, and it was just like another thing where I was like, something's not right here. So the episode shows some of Vision and Wanda's powers when they do a talent show that's like a magic act. So you see more of their powers there. And then they go home and all of a sudden Wanda is pregnant. Then they go outside almost immediately after they find out that they're pregnant, and someone comes out of the ground and is dressed like a beekeeper. And Wanda looks at the beekeeper and she just says no. And then it rewinds to them back in the house finding out that they're pregnant. So that was another thing where I was like, what just happened? So at this point, you kind of get the gist that Wanda is kind of controlling something. You don't know what, but she just said no and things reversed. So they're back in the house and she looks at Vision and he's red, just like the helicopter. And all of a sudden the whole room turns to color and now WandaVision is back in color. So that is the end of episode 2. Episode 3 is going to be in color, which is so exciting. So it seems like each episode is building up to something big. Like the first episode had maybe 1 or 2 strange things about it, and then the second episode started to give us more information about how things just don't seem right here. So in the next video, I'm going to be talking about episode 3 and 4, and let me just tell you, a lot happens. A lot of important things, a lot of things that explain other things. So definitely be here to watch episode 3 and 4, Thoughts and Theories. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.